does the person you are with encourage you to read? You have to ask, what does he bring for me? Roses or books? If someone has a stake in making you better, that person will push you towards books. Books are what we all need.
The first question tonight is from Nilesh Bhagwat, Mumbai. He quotes from the Rahrasi Sahib, Nitnem. थाल विच तिने वास्तो पाइयो सतौ संतोख विचारो. In the plate are three things: truth, contentment, and contemplation. The plate referred to here is the holy book, the Adi Granth. And the verse says it contains three things: truth, contentment, and contemplation. So Nilesh is asking, what is contemplation? We think a lot. From our own personal center, we invest a lot of time and energy in thinking about the world. World as it appears to us, because that is the only world we know of operating from our personal center. The personal center is never thought of. From the personal center, all thoughts happen. A great deal of thinking happens from the personal center, but the tendency of thought is to never turn back to focus upon the thinker. Thought likes to poke its nose everywhere, dabble with everything, speculate, imagine, run amok. Sometimes, if it is trained and restrained, proceed carefully, proceed with a certain discipline and regulation as well. Thought can do all kinds of things. It can go left, it can go right. It can create, it can destroy, it can affirm, it can negate. It can say beautiful, it can say ugly. Thought is versatile. Thought is deft. But thought is blind when it comes to looking at its origin. Thought would never ask, But from where did I come? It takes its own origin as granted, which is to say that it takes its own origin as the truth. That is both an insistence and a helplessness. It is a stubborn insistence because the origin of thought is from the personal center called ego, and the ego does not like to call itself false. Therefore, the ego must insist that it is the truth. And truth need not be thought of. Since truth need not be thought of, and the ego insists that the ego itself is the truth, so the ego never thinks about itself. It is an insistence. Well, it's a self-harming obduracy, but nevertheless, it is quite strong. Ask the ego, what all would you like to see and know? The ego would say, I want to get into the core of the atom. I want to get to the very center. I want to split even the nucleus. I want to know where the most miniature of particles are coming from and whether they are particles at all. I want to go into dark caves. I want to travel to the peaks of mountains. I want to travel to the far reaches of the universe. I want to know how the universe was born. I want to create the entire field of cosmology. I want to know everything. But there is just one thing that I do not want to know of. Where am I coming from and who am I? So thought does not look at itself. It instead looks at the world being itself and then thinks a lot. I'll bring back a cliche because it is useful here. It is like wondering why everything is red without ever looking at yourself to find that you are wearing red upon your eyes. Wearing red spectacles, thought is busy, obviously, thinking why the universe appears red. And thought is examining and analyzing and positing, hypothesizing, doing everything without ever seeing what the actual source of the redness is. That's thought for you. Why is he like that? Why did she just behave like that with me? Why do we die? Why are we born? Now, who thinks that there is birth and there is death? You do, right? So if you really want to know what birth and death are, first of all, you must ask, to whom are birth and death? Who is the experiencer of birth and death? Who is first of all asserting that something called birth and something called death indeed does exist? What if they do not exist at all? What if they exist only with respect to the watcher? But that possibility is scary and is therefore always discounted by thought. Are you getting it? So thought would say, I want to know what the green in the plant is all about. I want to know what the green in the plant is all about. And in this query, there is a huge assumption. What is the assumption? That the plant and the green indeed do exist. To whom do they exist? To the one who is looking at them, to the thinker. But because the thinker does not want to admit the possibility that he might himself be false, therefore he does not want to admit the possibility that that which he is seeing might be false. He says the plant has to exist because I see it. And who am I? The absolute truth. If I am the absolute truth, therefore the plant and the green have to be there. Who is vouching for their existence? I. And who am I? The truth. And if I am the truth, then that which the truth claims to exist must exist. What is the point in examining? What is the point in real contemplation? So thought would invest a lot of energy in going into the greenness. While all the time shying away from examining whether the greenness actually is. So thought and all the activity of thought is all actually just superstitious because it is working on an unexamined belief. What is the unexamined belief? The thinker exists. Do you see how superstition is necessary for thought? Which may include rigorous, disciplined, scientific thought as well. Even that is based on a great superstition. And the great superstition is that the examiner is real, the thinker is real. The source of thought is truth. That is the assumption thought proceeds with. But then we find that even in the scriptures, the saints are often advising us to vichar. Vichar. Just as we have in this verse. Sat usant okh vicharo. If the tendency of thought is to remain blind to the truth, then why are the saints advising vichar? When saints advise vichar, it is a special quality of contemplation that they are referring to. It is Atma Vichar. Not just thinking blindly and randomly about the world. The saints are imploring thought to take a U-turn and look at itself. The saints are encouraging thought to begin a meditative journey inwards, a pilgrimage towards the heart. They are challenging the thinker. You think about everything. Can you contemplate about yourself? Come on. About everything in the world you have thought of. You have left nothing untouched. Now can you look at yourself? Can you look at your own origin? You are so fond of touching everything, examining it, playing with it, theorizing about it, imagining. Can you do the same with yourself? Contemplate, contemplate. What is this thinker? Where did he come from? Is he the truth? If he is the truth, why is he always changing? And once you get into the practice, you find that it is easy. Situations change your thoughts. Moods change your thoughts. And mood is so very dependent on the situation. Now, would you go on this situation dependent thought? Would you want to go with it? Or would you rather say, wait, this is something quite fickle, quite undependable. I want to examine it a little further. I can't make decisions. Not yet. I need to get a little deeper into it. Yes, the momentum of thought is big. Thought is carrying a great force with it. A great force and a great claim. The claim is, I am the truth and I am forcefully asking you to act now. That which you are right now thinking of is the truth. And truth with momentum. So truth that is pushing you to act according to thought, to go with the thought. In such a situation, it becomes all the more necessary that you restrain yourself, does it not? Because not only is the force blind, the force is powerful. And it wants to give you no allowance to check it, verify it. In fact, verification and examination appear like wastage of time. Thought is so very self-assured. It says, why are you wasting your time examining things? The matter is sealed. The truth is self-evident. The probe is completed. The conclusion is obvious. Now act. That's what thought tells you, no? Thought doesn't want to give you the opportunity to go slow and look at the entire process. How did I start thinking this way? Was I always like this? Was I everywhere like this? How are others different from me? Why do thoughts vary from person to person? And even within the same person, from time to time and place to place. Where does this thinker disappear when I go to sleep? When one kind of thoughts take over, where do the other kind of thoughts go? Wait, how does it happen that something that appears so very true this moment sometimes appears totally false a moment later? And it does happen. Happens with everybody. You are so certain of something. And then a flip. And you are on the other side. How does that happen? And when there is a flip, that is a great moment to ask yourself, wait, just a second back I was so certain about something. Just a second back I would have bet my life on something. And now that thing appears so hollow. And if you can see this even once in your life, it would prevent you from being very certain of anything that thought brings to you. If it could happen once, it is quite probable that it is happening again and again, just going undetected. It was detected once, it didn't happen once. It's just that it was detected just once. Maybe it is happening very frequently. Maybe it is happening always. That is contemplation. Contemplation is to turn thought inwards. Loosely speaking, contemplation is to think about the thinker. But when you think about the thinker, it is not the same quality of thought that runs outward into the world. As we said, it is now thought consecrated. It is now thought on a pilgrimage, going inside to the temple of the heart. Getting it?
Right now you just said that thought is a very fickle instrument. You cannot rely on it. So every day when I'm going to stadium or I'm doing any work or even when there is a emotional outburst, be it anger, like last night. So there was only one thing running, that so many promises, so many determinations, they've all gone to vain. What is the real deal? What can we rely on? And it felt like a prisoner that I cannot reach it. It's stuck. So just that you have pointed out that it's fickle, it is seen, but what next?
It is not fickle when I point it out. It is fickle even when it is not pointed out. The thief is there even when it is not caught out. So you're asking what next? Remain contemplative. What next? Remain contemplative. Because the tendency to be blind to oneself and be excited and curious towards the world is a continuous tendency. It is a tendency within us to remain blind to ourselves and very excited about the world. If that tendency is continuous, then contemplation too has to be continuous.
But the contemplation is also done by the same mind.
Yes, therefore it is a special quality of thought.
But if the choice is given to the mind, then there are times when it does not want to.
It may almost never want to. But then there is something that we know of as higher than desire. And I'm not talking of grace. I'm talking of suffering. You might be born with a sweet tooth. But if you are detected with diabetes, you restrain yourself. Your bodily tendency might be to be drawn towards sugar all the time. But you do stop yourself, don't you? Your suffering helps you and guards you. So your mind might always want to go out and have fun. But suffering helps. You go out, you have fun. And you get struck and beaten up. You'll have no option but to return home, turn inwards.